All right, so we are recording now. I'm going to turn it over to you, Miriam and Laura. You want to welcome everybody? I don't know.
No, who's going to talk first? Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have all been kind of the reality of our kids are graduating and all these fun events are coming up. So we thought that it would be a good idea to get everybody together to kind of talk through it. And since it's been a while since we've done some of these things and fill everybody in on the details of it. And Valerie has been great and agreed to do this for us because it's kind of half of it's done by the school and half of it's done by us as part of the senior committee, as part of the PTSO. So it's really a collaboration of everybody, and the class council plays a big part of this too. So lots of people involved to make these events happen.
Happy to be here. I think also want to let our families know that we do have translation available. So Juan, I'm going to turn it over to you if you want to let people know how to access that, and then I'll put you in the room.
Sure. Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Muy bienvenidos a la junta de esta tarde. Como dijo la señora, nos da mucho gusto de que podemos otra vez hablar acerca de la graduación de todos los estudiantes que están en el grado 12, los de señoría. Y podemos hablar de los detalles de lo que va a suceder y todo eso, ya de que tenemos tiempo que no se ha podido hacer esto. Solo estamos dando la bienvenida a todos. Si gustan a traducción en español, ahorita me van a poner en un cuarto en español en otro canal. Y nomás lo que tiene que hacer es abajo a la barra, hágale clic y lo va a salir un globito, como la forma del mundo. Le hace clic ahí al globito y lo va a decir español o inglés. Va a decir Spanish o English. Escoja usted español y ahorita la señora me va a cambiar a mí a ese canal y van a escuchar la traducción de toda la junta a través de ese canal. Gracias, ahí los miramos. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll start the room now. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so we can all follow along. It's in English and in Spanish, so everyone can see it at the same time. As Miriam noted, we're talking about senior events. So this is a big deal. There's a lot of stuff that's going on for our students. Here's the table of contents. Again, I will post both the slideshow and then we'll post this video on our YouTube channel so folks can go back and watch it in case you missed something. And then we'll end the presentation with some questions and answers that may be popping up for you. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the calendar. There's only a few months left. And it's going to go by really fast, and I'm including March in those few months left. So when we look at the calendars, the items on the calendar that are blacked out are items where there's an event that your senior might be interested in. So for March, the spring musical is getting started. We have the first full dress rehearsal on Wednesday, the 16th. That's next week. And then we do have performances on the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. Please come out and see Legally Blonde. It's a lot of fun. And then the end of our 5th marking period is on Friday, the 25th. And then that means we go right into spring break. And it feels like right after we come back from spring break, things really get rolling quickly. So the Friday the 1st is the last day of spring break. We will be doing CAST and CASP testing. So testing is back. It's starting to feel more normal. That will be on the 5th and 6th and the 12th and 13th for our 11th graders. In the middle of that, we will be doing a mandatory senior meeting for all of our students on the 5th. So that information will be coming out to all of our students. We do want them there so they know what to expect in these next few months of the school year. The prom is on Saturday the 9th. We're having a prom. A couple months ago, who would have thunk it? But we'll have up to 999 kids in the space. Right now, planning for 1,000 or more in San Francisco is considered a mega event. So we're going to keep it one less than mega, but we'll feel like a mega prom after not having an indoor dance for, a couple of years, really. So that will be hosted at the San Francisco Design Center Galleria. It will be beautiful. And then on the 13th, we're doing the last standardized test that our seniors will ever have to take. It is the California Science Test. It is a mandatory test. I'll talk about that in just a few moments and why it's mandatory. And then May. So when I was putting together the May calendar, I had to giggle a little bit because I was like, well, almost every day is blacked out. There's something almost every day for the kids. AP testing is coming, and a lot of our seniors will be participating in that. And for the most part, there's a test happening every day, those first 2 full weeks of May, except for Friday the 13th. That's the one day we're not offering the test that's offered that day. So we'll steer away from that if anybody has a superstition there. Senior Activity Day is on Monday the 16th. The 17th takes us, the 16th also is the beginning of award season for us. So the music awards will be on Monday the 16th. That's for all of our musicians. The senior awards will be on the 17th. That will be for our students who are invited to celebrate, getting a scholarship or having a major senior event. The 18th will be our athletic awards. And then on the 20th, we're hosting the Donnies, and we'll be celebrating the senior sunset. So at the beginning of the year, we have the senior sunrise, and it's a nice event where all of the kids come together and theoretically watch the sun come up in center court, because school starts at 8:30 these days. They didn't want to come that much earlier than school. So we got there about 7 o'clock and the sun had already come up, but it was really sweet. All of our seniors were together to have breakfast and play with giant Jenga. And so we'll end the year with a similar festivity. So Friday the 20th will be senior sunset, and then the Donnies. Final exams will take place the 23rd through the 26th. Our seniors do take their final exams. And then right after finals, we will be having a graduation practice out on the football fields, and it's going to feel a lot more like normal. We're going back to the in-person graduation ceremony that we had in place prior to all of this pandemic stuff. So that'll be good. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment. And then also on the 26th, if I'm correct, is grad night. And that's where our kids get to go and hang out with each other. So that's kind of the calendar in general. Let's talk about first the senior meeting. And this is that mandatory meeting that we'll have for the seniors on April 5th. I'm letting parents know about it so that you can remind your kids to be there, so we can talk with them about these last few days. And really what we talk to them about is finishing their year strong. We want to make sure they know what the expectations are for the remainder of the year. We'll go over the events and talk to them about how to participate. And that includes the activity day. It includes grad night. It includes graduation. It includes prom. We talk about finishing the semester strong. We also will have the counselors in there along with Ms. Tezak to talk about those last few steps that they need to complete to fully transition to college. So kids are getting their acceptance letters right now, and they're making those final college decisions. They need to know, how do I request my final transcript? Or, if I decide later that I want to go to a different school after I've already graduated, what do I do? So we'll be talking about that. And then we'll be going over the details of the actual graduation ceremony and how they'll participate with that. On April 13th, we'll be doing the CAST test, and that's the California Science Test. We'd hit pause on that for a few years as a state. We didn't do any testing for a little while. because how do you do that with a Chromebook at home, and what does that look like across the state? So we are bringing all of that back online this year because we have the capacity and kids are at school with us. We are required to have at least 95% of our students take the test. So it's important that students come in, they take it, they do their best, even though we know it's not something that will have, a direct impact on them. It will have an impact on our teachers and how they're able to see how well students have internalized or mastered that information. Kids take it after they've taken at least 2 years of science, ideally 3. And that's why we wait until the senior year. So to support all of our students in taking that test, we are making it part of the senior checkout process. The testing window is not just April 13th. We actually have until the very last day of school to get students in to take it. So we do want them to come on the 13th and take it and get it done so they don't have to worry about it. But just, fair warning, if your student misses it, we'll reschedule them and bring them in to make sure that they take that test. It only takes about an hour, so it's not a huge onerous thing, but we do want to make sure they take it. The big thing that we request is that all students need to bring a charged school Chromebook with them on the day of that test. So between now and spring break, Ms. Ellens Martin and our library and media staff are making sure that every student has a school issued Chromebook so that they can take this test. Between now or whenever they get their Chromebook and when they actually take the test, we're going to bother them to turn on the Chromebook and log in so that they can update the operating system and then have access to the secure browser that they need in order to test. So expect some of those messages to come out because we will need parents to remind their students for us, because sometimes they'll go home and they're worried about all of the other stuff they have going on in their lives, and turning on a Chromebook might not be at the top of their list, especially if they're using a personal device. So we'll be in touch with that as well. Awards nights are coming. These are wonderful. We finally get to celebrate our kids in person for all of their accomplishments over their last 4 years in high school. So some of the things that we'll be celebrating are students who are national merit finalists, or students who a department saw as being, an outstanding, history buff or artist or writer. So all of our departments will identify seniors that they want to acknowledge for one reason or another for their outstanding work and contributions. Families will receive invitations for the awards night, so if your child is getting an award at that particular event. Since we have so many different kinds of kids attending Aragon, we have a lot of different awards nights. Each program is a little different, and it depends really on the nature of the program that they're involved with. So whether it's drama, or it's athletics, or we're celebrating academics, or music, the program will look a little different. Senior awards nights, again, is celebrating those final accomplishments of some of our selected seniors. And that includes, those scholarship awards. And for some of them, it's a surprise. So we love to have them come in and not totally know why they're there, but know that there's something good that's coming. And so that's a lovely evening. The Donnies, again, it's our actors and crew. So students who've participated in the drama program, and either on stage or behind the scenes. So we do celebrate our crew. Music awards, so that's coming from Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Chen and all of our student musicians there. And then our athletic awards will be honoring all of our spectacular athletes and talking to our athletes of the year, both male and female.
Valerie?
Yes.
There was one question about time for the senior awards. Do you know already, or is that still TBD?
I'll have all of those details outlined in a senior letter that come out. I think the last I saw, the Donnies were initially on the 19th, and then all of a sudden it got shifted to the 20th. So I want to make sure I'm sharing good information. Senior activities. There's lots and lots. And I know that for some of these events, we could really, really use some additional parent help. Miriam, do you want to talk about these?
I think Laura is actually going to take this
Awesome.
one on.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this slide, then Miriam will do the grad night slide.
Okay.
So just as a means of introduction, Miriam and I are both on the executive board for the PTSO, and we also are senior parents. I have twins, Luke and Emma, who are graduating, and she has a daughter, Layla, who's graduating. So we are trying to help organize senior activities as best that we can. And here are some things that we've already had, some activities that we've already had and are ongoing, and some that are coming up. They may be very new to a lot of you because we haven't had the experience of having seen them in the last couple of years in the classes ahead of us, or had our kids even see that. So some of these are probably going to be new unless you have an older child, much older, who hasn't missed out because of COVID. So we did have our senior sunrise, like Valerie mentioned. We had breakfast and all sorts of activities at the beginning of the year that was heavily parent supported in terms of food donations and serving of food and et cetera. We also have a wonderful parent who is organizing monthly senior treat days. So your senior probably has mentioned maybe getting a slice of pumpkin pie around Thanksgiving. I know they had some kind of Panda Express. They had chocolate dipped strawberries, maybe around Valentine's Day. Neat things every month just for seniors during brunch time. So that is another activity that we sponsor with your donations. We have Senior Activities Day, which is a fun day, which is all morning on Monday, May 16th. The class council, so senior class council does plan the activities, but senior families are responsible to help staff a lot of the activities and also to serve and provide food for that. We provide breakfast and lunch on that day. It's kind of like a carnival-like event with bouncy houses, and there's a photo booth and other activities all out on the football field, I believe. Also, we have senior sunset. So we had senior sunrise at the beginning of the year. And then we have a sunset that same week on Friday, May 20th from 6 to 9. Senior families traditionally help with decorations and food for that event. So we're very close. Thank you so much for all your donations so far towards senior activities. We are very close to our fundraising goal for a normal year. However, because Senior Council has not been able to do their normal fundraising that because of COVID, they have not been able to meet what they need to meet to be able to fund their portion of these activities. So we found out very recently that parents will be responsible or will be asked to share in the cost of some of the activities that we traditionally have. So it's really important that as many families as possible do give whatever amount they're able to donate, whether that be the suggested donation of $75 or whether that if you're able to do more, even less, anything you can give is helpful to help us out so that we can provide them with what they need in order to have these activities that are longstanding Aragon traditions. So I know that Miriam put a link in the chat for everyone. This is the senior donation form. So if you would like to donate to our fund, please use that form. We also have a PayPal link that maybe we'll get in the chat soon. That is where you can donate for senior activities.
Yeah, if you actually go to that form, it includes the link.
You can click on the link, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm going to put up the link to the volunteer form as well, where if parents are interested in helping with Senior Activities Day or the Senior Sunset, we've had quite a few people who've signed up already, but if you'd like to get involved, and we're going to reach out and try and get committees together to help with the planning of both of those events.
Yes, it generally takes a lot of hands and donations and servers and things like that for these types of events, similar to Senior Sunrise. So. All right.
There is a question in the chat about, is there a way for a family to find out if they've already donated earlier in the year?
Yeah, just shoot us an email and Celine is helping us kind of help with the finance part of it. And so she could look it up. So either shoot us an email or Celine, if you have that, or just email us and we'll forward it on to her. We could get that figured out for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right.
And then comes graduation. So basic information for graduation. It will be on our home stadium field at 5:30 on Thursday, May 26th. Every family right now will get 4 tickets. We've increased the number of chairs that we normally rent from 1,700 to 1,800. So I should have a few extra tickets for families if they really need one more. I'll have information about the senior lottery shortly. But right now with the 1,800 seats and everybody getting 4 tickets, it's that I really only have about 68 tickets left if everyone uses all 4 of those tickets. So we'll be asking kids, like, if you don't need all 4 of them, please, give them back so that we can accommodate those who are asking for a few more. Gates will open about an hour in advance for seating. If you haven't seen a graduation at Aragon before, you're not alone. I haven't seen one of these either, but I've seen pictures. So we know that students will be sitting up in the home stands and then families are seated in chairs on the field. So there's a lot of room to spread out there. The stage is set up on the track facing the families. So you can watch the kids, you can watch what's happening on the stage. In terms of when the tickets go out, we hand them directly to the kids. We use that as part of the practice. We can't hand them their diploma over and over and over again. So what we do is on one of the days of practice as they come up to practice getting their diploma and then shaking hands, that very awkward moment. That's where we give them their tickets and they can bring them home. So they'll get them on Wednesday before graduation. And at that point, that's where if there are any additional tickets that I have after doing kind of a lottery, I'll have those handy as well. We will get some student cap decorating guidelines out at the senior meeting. We'd like to show kids what's okay and what's not okay. Last year, we did give students a little cap decorating goodie bag in one of the senior take-home kits. We're not able to do that this year because what's nice is you can go to Michael's now. It's not as onerous as it was, this time last year. Families were still trying to stay at home as much as they could. So usually just in general for families, so that last year the guideline was that whatever decoration student put on their cap was no taller than 1/4 inch thick. And so that allows you to like bedazzle and put something up there. You can paint with puffy paint, but we don't want to have large things on top of their heads because we do want to make sure we can see the kids behind them and make sure that the celebration is about the entire graduating class and not 1 or 2 individuals who have really large, extravagant things on top of their heads. So we'll talk about that with the students. And then finally, families will get additional information about all of this with the senior letter that goes out later this month. You will have it via email. We'll post it on the website and we'll send it to your students. And we may be sending it out through snail mail. I'll take a look and see what that's going to look like. But you will be getting that information as we're getting ready to go to spring break. So that takes us to graduation. And then we have grad night. And that is one of those events that I have to say is so much fun for the kids. But it's just so you're aware, it's not a school organized event, because the kids have just graduated. They're no longer our students. And so we rely on families to pick this up and run with it. And every year our families do. So I'll stop talking and let you ladies take over.
Just really quick, Valerie, there's a question about tickets for graduation in the chat. Do you give the tickets to seniors to bring home or do you mail them to the home address?
We give them directly to the kids. We use the ticket. We'll put the tickets in an envelope with the student's name on it. And we use it at the last graduation as a graduation practice on Wednesday as like as practice for students. I'm going to stand up just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. You know, when kids, they come up and they get their diploma and then they shake hands at the same time, we want to give them a moment to practice that. And that's how we hand them their ticket. It's also the carrot we use for them to actually come to practice and see what to do. We also tell them that they should really wear whatever graduation shoes they're going to wear at that last practice. So if they're wearing something a little out of the ordinary, maybe a little taller than normal, they feel what it's like to go up and down the stage. So kids will get them to take them home on Wednesdays, the day before graduation. Again, I'm watching the chat right now. Every student is guaranteed 4 tickets. We will be asking students who are at middle college if they are choosing to graduate with us as well. So the total number of graduates includes students who are Aragon students, but participating at middle college up at CSM. They also get to use 4 tickets. What I will do is I will reach out on that senior letter. You'll be able to tell me if there's be something to click. So you don't need 4 tickets and you'd like to give one up, you can tell me that then. And if you need an additional ticket, you'll be able to tell me that then as well. Ideally on Wednesday, we're handing students all the tickets they need. It's been my experience in doing this for many years that I usually will have a few extra tickets just kind of with me for those last minute, you know, like we didn't know that Nana was coming and now she can. And so we want to make sure that she can have a ticket too. So I'll probably have a few extras just in case. There's also usually a little wheeling and dealing amongst the seniors that maybe, you know, Uncle Bob couldn't come at the last minute, and a student will know that and will be able to hand another student an extra ticket. The grass seating, everybody is already seated on the grass. So I won't have any additional grass seating. 1,800 chairs on the field fills it up pretty quickly. So I'll keep an eye on what that looks like. But right now we'll say you need to have a ticket to enter the stadium. If we had a larger visiting section and we would open that up, but we don't. So we'll go with what we have seating for. I think that covers it. I'm sure that people will have more questions and I'm happy to answer them as we go through.
All right, I will move on to grad night. So we have booked our grad night and it's going to be on Thursday after graduation. And it's going to be at the Long Branch Saloon and Farms over in Half Moon Bay. This is a location where they have done grad night there a few times in the past, and they've reported that it's been lots of fun. So we decided to stick with that. And so it starts at 8 and it goes until 12, and there'll be buses that are provided from the school. So the kids would need to be at school by 7 p.m. So really just after graduation, and they'd be picked up at school at 7 p.m. and they'll be brought to the location and then brought back and need to be picked up back up at school at 12:30. Kids won't be permitted to be, drive there or to be driven there. We're, asking everybody to go on the buses. And the event includes, everything. Dinner's included. There'll be snacks. They're serving breakfast, and then all the beverages. And then there's going to be games. There's casino games. There's a DJ and dancing. There's mini golf. There's photo booths. There's all kinds of games and inflatables, and there's a s'mores bar, things like that. So I've seen some pictures and it looks like it was a lot of fun. So we're hoping that we get a good turnout and the kids will be excited to be able to all get together and celebrate with their classmates. Tickets are $165 a person. There's a form here that you can click, and it's also been in our emails and so forth where you can purchase the tickets. There are scholarships available. So, and that form, there is a place to click if you're interested in a scholarship, or you could just shoot us an email and we'll take care of that. That's already been included in our budget and everything. So we want to make sure that everybody who wants to attend can attend. And I already talked about this round trip transportation. And I think, there was one other thing that we wanted to mention about graduation in general. There is one of the parents who has provided or is making leis for students. So if anybody is interested in ordering leis, that is also a form that we've sent out in some of our emails, and maybe we could link that here too. But that is something to keep in mind. And she's donating the percentage of the proceeds to the committee fund that's going to help fund all these events and so forth. So it's a great opportunity. I know one of the styles is already sold out, but she said that she could still do more if we order soon. I think she wanted to close up the orders by the end of this week. So if you are interested in that, put that order in too. I don't know if there's any questions. I'm just looking at the chat right now.
There's a question about the donation, whether it says the donation request 240 or 75.
So the 75 is for the graduation, the senior fund. And so that helps cover the, senior sunrise, senior sunset, the senior activity day, all those treats and everything. So that's really intended to cover that. And then 165 is the price for the ticket for grad night. So if you did the 240, that's really supposed to cover both of those. So that's supposed to cover the 75 plus the 165. So if you've paid 240, you've kind of covered both of those. I would just, if you haven't already, I think that everybody, Celine's been keeping track, but if you want to make sure that you're covered or your tickets purchased and paid for, you just shoot us an email and we can check our records to make sure that's all accounted for. Because I know some people did it all together.
Okay. So those are all of our slides. I'm just opening it up to questions. I don't see any outstanding questions yet. There are, let's see, there was a question about the possibility of graduation in a live Zoom. Graduation, just so everyone is like fully aware, graduation is really expensive. It's about, we have a large fee to pay for the chair and stage rental. And then we do cover the cost of all students to have their own cap and gown. And then the covers, and then our sound is so-so. We got it fixed so that it'll work for, soccer, it'll work for a football event, but it's just not enough if you're going to mic up your band and your choir and have, really nice sound. So we do have to have vendors come in. So right now, graduation is already costing us about $32,000. And we just do not have the funds to include that Zoom that we did last year. That was a special treat for our seniors last year who could not, they just didn't really have anything else. So we tried to give them something a little extra. And then because families were not able to travel in from out of state to be there in person, we did want to make sure that out of town and out of state guests could participate that way. But it's cost prohibitive to do that every year. So we will not be doing it this year. There is a question for grad night in here about students, can they park their car at Aragon and drive by themselves home afterwards?
All I know is we must transport the kids from Aragon to Long Branch Farms and from Long Branch Farms back to Aragon. How your kid gets to school and back is your decision, I think. I haven't heard that there's any, there's no rule that they can't drive to school, but they do need to take a bus from school to the event, from the event to back to school when the event's over. This is a safety issue. We just don't want kids driving over the hill. We can't take that kind of liability. There was also another question I thought about, is there a deadline to purchase a ticket for grad night? We don't have a deadline yet, but we'd love for people to purchase them the sooner the better, because we are reserving buses and we can sometimes ask for an extra bus at the last minute, but it is really helpful in terms of planning if we know how many kids we'll have. And kids tend to be kind of they hedge their bets to the last minute. This is what I hear from prior years. And then we get all these tickets right at the very last minute, which is great if there's flexibility with our vendors, but sometimes this year there's a lot of graduation parties happening. So a lot of the buses and things are being reserved, and we're going with a private bus service. Last year they were able to add an extra bus because the interest was so great, but we can't guarantee that. So the sooner the better. I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, just to go back to the budget issue too, I think to the extent we know, I mean, because we've budgeted for grad night, but it's based on, selling so many tickets, that's going to cover the cost of grad night. And the other funds we really want to be able to use to help support, and maybe this year give a little extra for senior sunset and the senior activity day. So we're just trying to work that budget out, and the more we know how many kids are going, the better off we'll be, and the more we can plan for that.
I'm just going to go right down the chat questions here. So there's a question here about when do kids find out about valedictorian? I like to wait until after that 5th grading period ends to start getting that information out. So not until after we get back from spring break at the earliest. Graduation, a family member is in a wheelchair. Is there an assigned area? You bet. We will absolutely have an assigned area. So if you have somebody who has mobility difficulties, we tend to have them and a partner, a companion seat available. They will need a ticket. And then we will, in the senior, on that senior information letter, we'll have a way for you to tell us if you need to have that, access so that we can plan accordingly. Can Aragon alumni who missed graduation due to COVID come without tickets? It's a really good question. What I will say is that I need to make sure that all of the families of our current graduates are able to get into the stadium and have a seat. But I think that's a sweet question. So let me take that back and see what we can do. Right now, I'm going to say you need to have a ticket in order to enter the stadium. But if there's something else, I'll see what we can do there. Will there be a photographer to take pictures when diplomas are given? Yes. So we usually have Campus Candids comes out. We give them a copy of our graduation list so that they know who they're taking photos of. And then we do make sure that they have email information for families so they can send you a notification when those pictures are ready. But they usually take 2 shots of kids. So one when they're actually like shaking their hand and getting their diploma, and then again as they're coming down the ramp, when they have their picture, their diploma, and they can stand for a moment and probably take a picture of that. So usually there are at least 2 shots, and then they'll do some candid photos as students are entering. They'll take some pictures of families, and they take pictures as students are also exiting the stadium. So yes, there will be a photographer there. I will include all of these links in an email so that everything is there.
Yeah, we'll put that together for you.
Got it. And then Ryan, I see you were asking about a sibling for who missed graduation. I think that's where you're going to want to ask for an additional ticket. Margaret, did you say where the link or flyer is for the handmade graduation lays? There's the link right below it. All links in one email, handy dandy. We'll do that for you. Graduating seating question, will there be assigned seats or general admission? It will be general. We're not going to assign seats. We did that last year, but we are not doing that this year. This year, the seats will be out because we don't have to worry about doing any type of contact tracing. So the calculus has changed. So it will just be open seating. If you've been to a football or soccer game, you know that our stands have been packed. So we're going to continue with that. Families will be sitting on the field. Yes. Graduates are in the stands. Yes. And then when your other student graduated, there was a closed area in which the school provided chairs and tickets. Other guests were allowed, and typically they brought their own chairs. Okay, so some of this is because I'm new and still learning what this looks like. So far, I've been your pandemic principal, and that's all I've seen. So I'm looking forward to going back and watching and looking at a couple more photos so I have a better idea of what it looked like. So I appreciate the tips in here, and we'll see what I can make happen. And I think I don't see any other questions. in the chat or in the Q&A. We can hold for a moment.
There is, Valerie, something in the Q&A about the valedictorian qualifications.
So valedictorian qualifications, it does not, so usually it's the calculations at previous schools, and I need to go back and double check on how it's calculated here, because every school seems to do something a little differently. In past experience, it has been the 7 semesters prior to that last semester are those that we count. We do not weight the grades. It's based on, 4.0, and that opens it up to students who are not taking, 4 or 5 or 6 AP classes. It makes it a little bit more level to become a valedictorian. So I'll include those qualifications in that senior letter as well, just so everybody's aware, and so I can go back and look at it as we go forward in years to come. Another question, any chance for people without a ticket who wants to stand and watch and will not need a seat? Again, I will get all of that information for you, Gloria. I'm hoping that we'll be able to give tickets to everybody who needs a ticket so that they can be in, but then we'll have some guidelines for some of those larger families. If you have twins who are graduating, it's 4 tickets. I've been doing 4 tickets per student, not per family. Graduation, we try to have them in and out within about an hour and a half, because we know, yes, the ceremony itself is a lovely thing, but we also know that you want to have dinner, you want to see them, you want to spend time with family and celebrate them, and they're going to want to go to grad night and do those things. So we also know that you probably don't want to hear me talk for 5 minutes at the event. So we try to keep the speeches short. We want to celebrate our kids, take some photos, and then go celebrate. So I would say 2 hours on the outside, and that's if something goes a little wonky.
And then there's a question about masking. Will masks be required at the graduation?
It looks like masks going forward, beginning on Monday, are going to be, even inside the school, strongly suggested, but not specifically a requirement. We're still kind of taking a look at what that looks like. But because graduation is outside events do not have a mandatory mask mandate. So we hosted, NorCal soccer championships last Saturday, and that has been mask free. So if you're welcome to wear your mask, but it is not required. Yes. The comment, OMG, a normal graduation. Yeah, yes, you will be able to see their faces. Yeah, it'll be great. You're welcome, Gloria. We're getting there. Baby steps toward normalcy. So I think, unless there are any other questions.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to us. Laura and I are always on our emails, and happy to help answer any questions. If you'd like to take on a big role and help us plan a senior sunset, senior activity day, please let us know that too, because we could use the help with those things and coordinating with class council and everything.
It really is sweet too, if you can come by and participate in any of those events. You just get to see your kids and all of their friends, having those last, high school moments together. And it's nice. And they don't get embarrassed by having their family there. They like seeing their folks there too. So consider it. If you would like to bring an umbrella to shield yourself from the sun, as long as you can keep it low so that people can see over you, I don't have a problem with that, but we're going to want to keep it really low. I would suggest a hat over an umbrella. Sunscreen too. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. More information to come in that senior letter. Thank you to Laura and to Miriam for being here to talk about grad night and those activities that make the whole end of the year so much more fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.